How you doing, guys? My name is Fred Adams from Stencil-Tech Concrete, and this is my brother Michael. We're on our way down to Wales today. We're going down to see a potential customer. We've already priced them over the phone. They've already got a good understanding on what to expect. So while we're doing this 10-hour round trip, we thought we'd take the time to answer some of the most commonly asked questions. We've got a lot of quite viral videos floating around at the moment, and we've got thousands of people commenting on our posts, messaging us, sort of trying to ask a bit more about what the product's all about. So I thought we'd make a quick list just to go over some of the most commonly asked aspects of the job. So how much does it cost? Now, typically it's a very hard thing for us to be able to go into too much detail about over a comment on Facebook. There's so many variables with drainage, the size of the area. There's a lot of variables in place with it, which will always tweak the price. So we always need to just have a little bit more of a phone conversation with you, try and talk a little bit more in depth about what's got to be done. We even like to go online, have a little bit more of a look at it on Google Maps. From there we can give you a little bit of an idea on what to expect cost wise, and if it all works out to be within the budget, we'll come out and see you, and we'll go into a bit more detail in person. So number two, what is the specification? Now, we like to install all of our installations to more of a, shall we say, a bit more of a commercial grade, because we know if you overkill this job that we do, it's going to be there forever. It's commercial grade. So the specification is always a minimum of 4 inches of MOT type 1. Now there's different types of MOT type 1. You've got recycled crushed concrete, which is all Ministry of Transport material, certificated. We use that when obviously that's the only thing available sometimes in an area. You've got your cam spec limestone, granite stone, all come under the same grading. So we want a minimum of 4 inches of that. Then we like to use damp proof membrane. Now sometimes that can work against you. In the winter months it can make the concrete take so long to set that it can actually cause issues. So we're there till dark trying to get a decorative finish in place on any sort of driveway installation. So if it's going to work against us, we won't put it in. During the summer months, when the temperatures are a bit higher, and we want to slow down the curing process a little bit, and also reduce drastically the risk of same day cracking due to the concrete curing too quickly, we'll incorporate 300 GSM DPM. So that's the specification on that aspect of things. Now this is sort of going to cover the next two questions really, which why don't we put steel in the projects? Now we get a lot of people from America messaging us talking about why they use steel and why aren't we doing it. Now what we incorporate in all of our jobs is steel replacement fibres. You put those in my opinion, it actually works better than steel because it's going through the entire matrix of the job. But in America, you guys, if you're going to be watching this video, you guys are a lot more catered for the concrete industry typically than what we are here in the UK. You've got the big concrete wagons that come out that have got a boom on it that can reach, I don't know, well, it's ridiculous, a hell of a lot more than what we've got. So we have to be able to, in a lot of cases, back the concrete truck on the driveway. And when we've got all the steel in the way, obviously a lot of these concrete drivers will just straight up refuse to back over the steel, which I can understand why. So that's why we swap out the steel for fibre mesh. Yes, a lot of you guys are going to say, well, why don't you use a pump? Well, over here in the UK, it's a very expensive aspect of the job. So a pump, if it's a boom pump, you're looking over £1,000 in some cases. If it's a ground pump, that's going to be £600 or £700 now. So it's just not feasible to incorporate that every time into the job because expenses are rising. We're trying to keep the expenses down for our customer so that we're able to give them the best job possible. So we don't use pumps, we like to use the fibre mesh reinforcing, and that will go down, the concrete on aspect of it now will go down at a minimum of 4 inches thick. That's the minimum. We always overkill, we always put it in more, but that's our minimum thickness. 4 inches of hardcore, 4 inches of concrete is typically going to take 28 tonnes. Now, do you need planning permission for the drive? Well, I get so many, I want to say keyboard warriors now that keep going on there and really try to slander the decorative concrete industry down and try and talk about how you can't have it, it's going to cause flooding. The reality is if you are changing a like-for-like product, if you've already got tarmac in place or something that's already non-permeable and you're changing that out for basically the same thing, you're not adding to the water load going into this highways anyway. So in that aspect of things, you're only changing like-for-like. You've got something called grandfather's rights, so you don't need plan permission, full stop there. But what a lot of people don't understand is the SUDS requirement is not plan permission for the driveway, it's plan permission for the water runoff to go into a storm water drain. So in order to get around that, we incorporate an ACO drain system, a channel drain plumbed into a soakaway. Now I can go into a bit more specification on soakaways and what the sort of load rate would be, how much drainage create over how much surface water, but we won't go into that on this video. But as long as you're incorporating a correct drainage system that retains all the water onto the driveway, you'll have no issues, and you do not need plan permission. That is the specification. That is what you refer to as a SUDS compliant driveway system. So when I come out and see you, or or you've got any questions for me, if you ring up and ask about it, whether you're someone looking to have a driveway done, or if you're buying materials from us, because obviously Stencil-Tech's the manufacturer as well as an installer, I'm happy to help answer any questions or give you some guidance on the drainage aspect. So as long as you've got all those systems in place, or you're already swapping out for like, then that's how you'd get around needing any plan permission, and that is completely legal and legitimate way of doing things. So another big one, we get this one a lot, is what about cracking? Of course, concrete is one solid chunk of area. There is no areas where we've got weeds that can come through. There's nowhere that we can get a loss of grouts. But because of that, it could be a possibility of a crack occurring. So what we do to get around that system, of course we already spoke about the specification, that helps a massive amount, but it's expansion joints. You have to incorporate expansion joints every 10 to 15 square meters at a push, but typically every 10 square meters you incorporate an expansion joint. Now we're not talking about a dowel joint, which is very wide. We're talking about an expansion joint which is cut in 24 to 48 hours after installation to ensure that we've got some movement there, so that when the movement does happen, which no matter how much hardcore, no matter how much steel, no matter how much fiber mesh concrete you put down, there is always going to be movement. You get expansion joints in brickworks of houses and they're sat on a foundation that's sometimes over 2 meters deep. You still have to allow for expansion, not in the footing as such, but in the brickwork. So putting those expansion joints in will just alleviate the stress of the slab. It doesn't guarantee against cracking, it actually creates a crack, because with those expansion joints you're creating a weak spot in the concrete which will make the concrete crack, but in a place where it's inconspicuous and you can't see it. So that's how we get around the cracking issue. Discolouring. Now there's two different types of decorative concrete out there. You've got your integrally coloured mix. So this is typically speaking now for the imprinted concrete industry. Obviously a lot of you guys know we do a lot of stencil systems and also exposed aggregate, but a version of imprinted and decorative concrete is called integrally coloured mixes. Now that is where you actually apply the pigment with the concrete, it colours it, you've got a massive amount of variations of colour. It's a fantastic, very easy to do installation, but it comes with a big downfall. You don't have that wearing course on the surface. When the whole entirety of the mix is colorized, it can be liable for wearing, and eventually over time it will wear just like how ordinary concrete would. Excuse me. So the other version of decorative concrete is where we use a product called colour surface hardener, and typically you'll see a lot of that on our videos. We're applying that on top of stencil, and with us we only use colour surface hardener. It's a Stencil-Tech product, we manufacture it, we use it on all our installs. But when we cast that onto the surface of pattern concrete, it actually gives you a wearing course. Now the colour surface hardener is a mixture of pure cement, quartz, different microns of sand, so you get a real thick matrix of material. So it's a wearing course, so you're actually driving over quartz, which is one of the hardest things known to man. so that takes the strength through the roof. So if you're using a colour surface hardener, this colouring is, well, it takes many years. I mean, we've got jobs that have been down probably 30 years, Mike, would you say?
Years plus.
Yeah. My grandfather installed those jobs, and they're still there today, look lovely. We go back and give them a reseal, just because we like to be able to show customers. I actually go and reseal some of those jobs for free, just because it's such a good advertisement. When someone can go and see a 30-year-old driveway and it still looks amazing. When you've got products out there, shall we say, like resin bound, which resin bound looks beautiful. I love the look of resin bound, but unfortunately it does not have the lifespan of a properly installed decorative concrete installation, and that's just me being completely honest. And I think a lot of even the manufacturers will say that to you about resin bound as well. Though it's beautiful, it has got to be replaced, in my opinion. I haven't seen one last much longer past 5 years. But it looks beautiful, and if customers are having it and they're happy with it, fantastic. But it does not last the same as what a decorative concrete installation would.
And if they say it does, and you have someone from a resin bound company come and price you for a driveway, quite clearly ask them and plainly ask them, can I see one that's been down over 5 years? I don't think you'll be getting many callbacks, do you think, Fred?
No, not at all. Yeah, we can come across that a lot, don't we, actually? But now, is it good for the environment? Now, obviously, this is a topic that's up for debate. I mean, is anything, when you have to have a lot of construction involved, good for the environment? Probably not. But when you've got a system that can last 30 plus years and hasn't had to really be touched, apart from a little bit of a jet wash, a little bit of a reseal, in my opinion, surely when you compare that against, we say, block pave and resin bound tarmac, which would probably have been reinstated probably every 5 to 7 years, I mean, that's got to be good for the environment, hasn't it? So it lasts a hell of a lot longer than sort of another product. So in my opinion, yes, I would say it's probably still not good for the environment. I would say, unfortunately, we've got to be realistic about things, but I think it's better for the environment than comparative products that have to keep being excavated and started again. So on that aspect of things, due to its longevity and how long it lasts, I would say it's better for the environment. Definitely.
I would say if it has reached its full life expectancy, which could be upwards of 50 years, if you did decide that you wanted to change and put something else down, the concrete can be removed and crushed and actually resold again as hardcore kind of credit.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. So you can recycle it, basically. So then, another commonly asked question. I think we've sort of touched base on a lot of the most commonly asked questions, shall we say, from a end user point of view. But for a lot of you guys now that are out there watching our videos, seeing how much work we're doing, I mean, we are always very busy. We're very successful with this line of work, and a lot of you out there interested in maybe getting involved with the system. So a lot of people are asking, are we running training courses? Now at the moment, we've had quite a bad fire at our factory that took down all of our machinery, took down half of our warehouses. It's been quite a struggle over the last couple of years. But we're just now starting the process of rebuilding all of our beautiful factories, or hopefully soon all of our machinery is all going to be up and running, and we're going to have everything running better than it was before. So yes, in the new year, we're going to be running some training courses, so keep your eye out for that. There'll be our 2-day courses where we're going to be demonstrating the stencil system, the spray-on overlay system, which I think when people are tightening up their belts in the new year, the overlay market's going to be huge, so definitely keep your eye out for that. We'll also be showing you a little bit of exposed aggregate and some imprinted as well, but we'll probably are going to be thinking about maybe running a few more, shall we say, catered for those systems, a few more catered systems for them systems in particular. Now, one of our major things that we're doing next year, we've had some very big success this year with it, is our franchises. You know, on those training courses, yes, we're going to show you the basics and what it's all about. Of course, most people know that when you're introducing a new system to an area, it's very hard to convince people. The UK market doesn't seem to like new things, and if you're not a proven, tested method, it's very hard to take work. So So we're now releasing our franchise business. We've got one franchisee up and running, which is Ian. If you're watching this video, I hope you're doing all right, buddy. And we've got 3 more franchisees that are getting up and running this month, ready to go for when the season kicks in next year. So that's going to be a major part of what you're going to be seeing Stencil-Tech all about next year, the franchise opportunity. Well, you're going to actually be able to market yourself as Stencil-Tech. You're going to have all of our full support, backup, training, product knowledge, sales knowledge as well, which is very important in this day and age, how to market yourself properly. And of course, you've got the full backing of the Stencil-Tech team, which is priceless. So keep your eye open for that. On those training courses, we are going to be having a little bit more of a conversation about the franchises and what they're all about. Anyway, guys, that's it for the moment. I think we've covered everything we sort of can with that little questionnaire, shall we say. So if you do have any other questions, just put them in the comments. We'll try and cover as much as we can. If you've got interest in the training courses and the franchises, I'll try and put some links on there. If not, just message me and I'll send you over some information on that. But we've got a 4.5-hour drive ahead of us now, so Michael's probably going to want to have a swap with me soon. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching, and keep your eye out for some of our new videos that we've got coming out. We're going to be demonstrating some new systems where we're going to be creating rock facades on walls. We're going to be doing a carving system on floors where you can create tiles, rock and stone. Just some very interesting things that might be a little bit more catered to the DIYer who wants to tidy up some old walls or an old floor. So we've got some fantastic stuff coming out, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But keep your eye open for our training courses if that is something you're interested in, and of course the franchise opportunity as well is coming up in the new year. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.